Hey, it's great to have you here today, and I realized a while back that I've never done a video talking about how you precisely measure swing plane and how that affects your ability to hit straight shots in golf. So I'm going to dive right into it. Now, before we get started, this is a very detailed video. I'm going to give you exact camera angle setups. I'm going to give you exactly how to draw the line. I'm going to give you exact positions to be in with the club. So this is really going to be the video. If you're into swing plane at all, you want to watch one video, this is going to cover everything. A lot of stuff that you've never heard before. So I just want to forewarn you, there's going to be a ton of details in here. You may want to save this as a favorites and come back and visit it if this is something that you want to practice. All right, so first let's get into how we would measure a swing plane. Some people measure it up the shaft. Some people draw a line from the golf ball to the shoulder. And all those are okay, and you can get a general idea of what swing plane would look like. But there's one that really matters for the most important part of the swing, which is how this club comes through the golf ball at contact. Now, our club is designed to, when we set up at address, it's actually going to be a little bit lower with the shaft than it will be at impact. You see, if I set the club flat with the ground, or the sole of the club, the bottom of the club perfectly flush with the ground, it's going to be fairly high. It's going to be up here, and that probably looks a bit like a weird setup, like my hands are out this way. Well, the reason is there's a lot of mass, a lot of weight on this club that's on this side of the shaft. And as this gets swinging faster and faster, it wants to pull the club down like that, what's called droop. And that droop means that the shaft actually bends or kind of bows this way, and you can really see that it's probably 5 or 6 degrees with most clubs. And the reason for that is the force you're putting in with the hands, what actually is going on here is the center of mass of the club head is trying to line up in a straight line with that, and that causes the shaft to bend a little bit. And it also causes you, as you swing faster and faster, for your hands to rise a little bit. So that's a big fancy explanation. I just wanted you to know what's going on, why I'm picking this particular plane. But because of that and the hands coming up, what I have found measuring tons of pros is that if you draw a line from the hosel of the club at address and you take it up through the elbow of the right arm at address, so if I go ahead and set up and I draw it from the hosel of the club up through the elbow, that's going to give me the elbow plane. And that plane gives you a very good idea of where the club should be traveling as you're coming through contact, and whether or not you're inside that plane, which would be more of kind of getting a feeling of being stuck under, which we'll get to later, or if you're over top of that plane to start down, which is going to cause that more over the top type slice. We'll talk about the correct position you should be in. Now, one thing to know when you're measuring this is you have to set up the camera right, or it just flat out won't work. Right now, I've got the camera set up almost 20 feet behind where I'm talking. And the farther you go that way when you're setting it up, the easier it is to get the right angle. You see, if I'm right on my body, let's say the camera person is standing here, and they move just a couple inches this way or a couple inches that way, it really distorts what you see in the frame. But if I move back that way, say 100 feet, which wouldn't be very realistic, but you'll get the idea, if the person steps a foot that way or a foot that way, it barely changes the angle when you're looking through the screen. So you want to be far away as you can. You want to set that camera up so that if you imagine that the camera was, when you push the record button, it shot a laser out of the lens. I would want that laser going directly through my elbow, because it is the elbow plane at address, and I'd want it to shoot and hit my target in the distance. Now, I know it looks a little bit weird right now as it's set up. You're like, well, your elbow's not in line with your target. But that's because it's being projected on a screen here. If I'm looking at a screen, if this was a real scenario where I'm aiming at something 190 yards this way with a 6-iron, I would be hitting the screen somewhere around in here. So it's a little tough to visualize. I won't get into all that. But if you're indoors, just realize you're going to have to be shooting that laser out of the camera through the elbow and a little left of wherever the center of the screen is. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, you've drawn that line on there. What should we be looking for here in a good swing? Well, what I find with most players is that as soon as they start their downswing, that club gets steep. And the main thing I want to focus on are the hands and the club head in relationship to this line. And the first part that I like to measure to see if I'm on plane is kind of halfway in the downswing when my club is around shoulder height or just a little bit above, maybe about a foot above shoulder height. Now, if I'm out here on that elbow plane, when I draw that elbow plane, you'll see my club is well on this side of it. Now, that's impossible to hit a golf ball from there. You see, if I kept swinging down in this angle, I'd hit somewhere down here by my feet, and I wouldn't hit a golf ball. So people that start down steep do two things to solve for this. They swing more to the left which would kick the club out more and more and more. That would keep it from hitting the feet and get it more out toward the golf ball, but the result is a giant slice. Or better players realize, yes, I'm a little steep, but what I can do is I can kind of stand up and drop the club in to the inside later in the downswing. So when my club's maybe around waist high or just below waist high, they go from steep to bringing the club inside. And the problem there is you have all this momentum getting the club stuck behind you, and you end up hitting these big blocks to the right or snap hooks. That's the main reason that most players, better players, if they don't have this swing plane down, down pat, they tend to hit, their big miss is going to be a block to the right and the occasional snap hook when their timing isn't going that great. Now, I'm going to want to be a little bit more shallow, and ideally what I'd like to see is, I'd like to see my hands on that red line, that elbow plane line, when my club is right around a little above shoulder height. And I want to see my club starting to get on that line or slightly inside that line. And you may ask, well, what's the point of all this? Is it truly just to get it lined up with the ball? It's actually not. You see, you don't want the club on that line unless you're going to hit a little bit of a fade. If you want to hit a draw, you actually want it to be a little bit inside that line. And it has to do with momentum, and I'm going to give you a feeling of what that's like. Go ahead and just take the club with your left hand, go to the backswing, let the club come on this side of the line significantly. You'd never do this in a real swing, but it's a great way to feel what's going on. Then I'm going to pull with my hands just like I would if I was making a normal swing. So my hands are kind of on this plane, a different plane, a hand plane. And as I pull with my hands, what does the momentum of this club want to do? Well, if I'm out there, it wants to slam back into my body. So that's that stuck under feeling that people have when they block it out to the right or snap hook it. Now, if I do the opposite of that, then almost like a Sergio Garcia a little bit here, I'm going to take that same hand position, put the club on this side, and when I pull my hands in the exact same direction I just did in that first example, the club wants to kick out this way. It wants to actually come in front of my body, and the face wants to almost rotate closed. So when the club is too steep or on this side of the plane, it wants to kick under and get stuck, and the club face wants to actually rotate this way or open up. It feels like I really have to flip it at the last second to square up the face and not just have it wide open and go in a mile to the right. If I have it more shallow, the momentum of the club wants to move more toward the direction that I actually want to hit the ball, kick back in front of me, and the face of the club actually wants to release and close on over and square up under its own momentum. So most golfers that I see, when I measure them on this elbow plane, they're steeper, they either come over the top and that causes all kinds of problems, or they go from steep to shallowing out late. The momentum of the club's going back, the face is wanting to open up, and now it's all just timing between hitting a block, releasing it the perfect amount and hitting a great shot, or over-releasing it and the club slams shut and does a hook. So if I videotape 1,000 recreational golfers, 990 are probably doing exactly what I just said there. So now that we understand what the momentum does, we understand how to draw the elbow plane, let's do a couple drills to actually get exactly where we want to be. Now let me hit a shot here first, and I'll kind of show you, obviously I can't see the elbow plane when I'm swinging, but I'll make a normal swing, and what I'm looking for here, if I'm doing this correctly, is I'd like to get my hands on the elbow plane, and again, I can't tell if I'm on the plane right now, I'm just giving a demonstration, but I'd like to get my hands roughly on this elbow plane about this point of the swing, and I'd like to have my club a couple inches inside that elbow plane. So I don't want it on this side of the elbow plane for sure, and if I overdo it and get it too far in here, it's just too much. So again, most people are way too far that way, so if you feel like the club head gets more behind you, then that makes it easier. So let's go ahead and take a look first and see what it looks like when I do a good job with it, and then we'll kind of move forward from there. There we go. So hopefully that one was pretty nice. Haven't really warmed up today. Hit a decent shot with a 7-iron here. Thought I had a 6. 189 yards carry, a nice draw. And I probably overdid it a little bit where I was trying to get a little bit more shallower. I may have gotten a little bit more inside, and that's going to promote more of that draw type pattern. Now the benefit of that is, as long as the club gets a little more inside early and I release it, the club momentum wants to release that way, and it's going to be very easy to hit a draw if I'm really feeling like I get it from the inside and kind of shift that plane more to the right. But what do I need to feel if I'm not doing this enough? Well, I like to do a slow motion drill that can really help you a ton to shallow out this club, get the club head on that side of it. And remember, I don't want to get it inside late. I don't want to go from steep here. I'm trying to get that club more behind me as I start the downswing, and as the club starts the transition, I want to get this shallowing out. So here's what I want to feel. Number one, I want to feel like I make a slow motion swing, I'd say like a 5-second backswing. And what I want to visualize here is I bring this club more vertical, where I feel like it's straight up and down in the backswing, and I get the club on that side of the plane going back. Then I'm going to go really slow. As I start my downswing, I'm going to feel like I turn a steering wheel to the right. My left elbow should kind of point out this way. If it's pointing down, I'm going to yank down on it. It's going to be steep. My left elbow is going to go that way. My right elbow is going to turn in. My hands are going to turn that way. And that's going to get that club a little bit more shallowed out. Now I'm doing that as I start my downswing. And one thing that a lot of people get wrong here is they think, well, I'm going to shallow this out. And it gets really easy to shallow it out if your hands pop way out here. They go too much this way. I basically want my hands to ride down that elbow plane. I don't want to get them too far that way. That would be me opening up too early. I want to feel like my shoulders stay a little closed. I let my club shallow out, but my hands are staying on that plane. Then once I get in this good position, I can go ahead and turn on through it as much as I want. And because my club's coming down the right plane, the momentum of the club wants to release, it's going to be a great shot. So let's go ahead and try another one. I'll really exaggerate the feeling that I would have if I'm doing these drills. So I'm going to go really slow here, 5-second backswing on the outside of the plane. I'm going to shallow it out, get those elbows to rotate, and then I'm going to come through contact. Now when I come through contact, I'm going to feel like the face is nice and square here. I don't want the face to be wide open like this. I want that face to be squared up, and I'm going to do about 5 reps of that until I really get the feeling of that shallowing out. Now once I get the feeling, I can go ahead and make some fuller swings, and what I like to feel in a real swing, I don't worry so much about the technical aspects. I just want to feel like the momentum of this club is wanting to release all the way through the downswing. So if I get it to the inside, like we just talked about, the momentum of this club wants to turn on over. The club face wants to release. And if I can feel that club's momentum coming from the inside and releasing in my real swing, I know I'm pretty daggone close to getting on the right plane. All right, so let's go ahead and give it a whirl here. We'll do another one. I'll try to hit a nice little tight draw on this one. Not quite as much curvature. There we go, hit that one good. Barely drew it a little bit. You can see it wanted to start to curve back. If you look at the tracer, the black line on the bottom, you can see it's a nice little tight draw. And I got a little bit after that when I went 195 on that shot. So definitely, you know, that's about as good as I can hit a 7-iron. And what I found is when I measure PGA Tour players, I've measured hundreds of them. Almost every single one of them is getting that club head inside the red line where we talked about starting the downswing, and their hands are roughly on that red line. If you can do that, golf gets a heck of a lot easier. Now, one thing that I talked about here briefly is how you start your downswing. And if you rush your downswing and you feel like you're doing a certain move that I'm going to talk about, it's going to kick that club steep no matter what you do in the transition. So I can be feeling I'm going to shallow it out, but if I do this move that I'm going to tell you about, there's just no way. The club's going to get steep every single time. You're going to be super fast to start your downswing, and the timing just becomes crazy, especially when it falls under late and you're really, really stuck. So I'm going to play a preview of a bonus video that's going to walk you through that. I'm going to smooth out your downswing for you. I'm going to tell you what you need to feel and a great drill to know if you're doing this. I'll play a preview of that here in 1 second. All you need to do, go ahead and click on one of the cards that you see pop up on your screen. You'll get instant access to that video. If you don't see the card, don't worry. Just go down to the link below in the description. You get instant access to it there. I can't wait to share with you a couple secrets that just make all the difference in the world to smooth out that transition. Let's go and get started. The bottom line is that if you pull this club down to ring that bell or pull the hands more from the inside, what's going to happen is you start to rush your downswing from that pulling, and that can throw off your sequence. And we all know that once your sequence gets off, that is going to be the root cause of all your problems. Now, maybe you're being outdriven way too often, or you're terribly inconsistent with your strikes. Some of your shots are heavy, some of them are thin, some of them are off the toe, and then the next ones are way off the hill. Now you end up way over in the trees, you're in the tall grass, or maybe even the hazards all day long, and it really comes down to this. Clay, how in the heck do we fix it? Well, there's some good news. Well, there's only 2 things that you need to learn. First, you need to learn to shallow the club rather than pulling the hands down and getting the shaft in this steep position. You see, there's another way that the pros do this, and once you start to get that club on this shallower plane, more from the inside, then you pair that up with the right way to square the club face. And once you put these two things together, everything starts to fit in your swing. Now your buddies will start to get a little bit jealous because you'll start hitting solid, longer drives, time after time, and round after round. Now I'm going to teach you this right now on what I call the E-slot technique. Let's walk through exactly how to do it. So here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and take a swing to the top and get in a really good position. I want you to feel like your weight is mostly shifted to your right side and that your hips and shoulders are nice and free. I don't want to be locked up here. I want my knees to move, my hips to move, and that's going to allow me to swing my shoulders very nicely. Now, one thing that most people get wrong when they swing to the top is they don't get this tilt away from the target. So instead of being straight up and down or leaning to the left, I want to be slightly tilted away in what I call the stable fluid spine in my top speed golf system. Okay, so now that you're at this great position at the top of the swing, what I want you to do is instead of pulling those arms straight down or ringing the bell, that's going to get the club shaft steep and get this elbow kind of flapping behind your body. I want you to do something very specific. I want you to take the tip of your elbow and move it in a specific way. Now, not this small bone on the inside of your elbow, but I want it to be right here at the tip, and here's what I want you to do.